Good to be back. Good to be back. So, finally getting back. So I'm gonna be doing like a new series. So what I wanted to do was do different species painting, and just kind of like I mean, it kind of works the same for decoys, or obviously with the taxidermy side of it, but also for decoys or whatever. I would say, okay, for this, and this kind of goes for everything, honestly. You know, this is going to be a snow goose, a blue goose. It's going to be the same for greater, lesser. I'll do a Ross goose at some point, but you know, there's variants in a lot of things from mallards to whatever. And I'm sure I'm going to say this a million freaking times, but you know, if there's like a certain thing, you're like, man, the one I shot was really orange or really red. You know, you really kind of need to show a picture, because by the time, like, say somebody like me sees it, it's been frozen, it's faded, and I normally just go with like a median, kind of middle of the road, you know, just kind of like not too light, not too orange, not too red, a happy medium. And I really haven't had too many issues with this bird as much as say like mallards or mottled ducks, because there's a lot of variance in those. But anyway, so to get out everything, we've got mallard orange, we've got flesh, natural flesh. You can use natural flesh, you can use what's that other one? We got jet black, of course, because that's like for everything. Gill red, just really a dark red will be good, because we're just going to mist on that side of it. If the compressor kicks on, I'm going to mute it so it's not just in your ear. So just kind of be forewarned all of a sudden if it goes quiet for a minute. So, oh, there's natural flesh, and then I want to say there's like there's another one that's a little bit more pink, but this is kind of basically just to dull down the orange for the first coat. So, what I'll do is let's go orange. You glad I didn't say banana? I'm actually gonna do two of these because I got a couple here. Let's see. So for the first kind of coat that I'm gonna do, that's gonna be kind of thick, kind of like the base coat. That's gonna be kind of like a lighter color. Then what I'm basically gonna do is go over this with a little mist of orange in certain places, which I'll show obviously, and then finally I go in with like that red kind of mist that around the sides, and then that way it just has a little bit of texture to it. It's not just straight and I guess if it comes on, if it's noisy, I don't know, because I'm just trying to think I'm gonna be painting. So anyway, so we got the head, blow some of this stuff away. So I'm gonna get, here we go. So I'm gonna get just like a nice good coat here real quick. Actually, I'll mute it, that way when the compressor comes on, and that way the airbrush isn't loud, and then that way you can still see it. Alright, here we go. Okay, so this is one, here we go. So this is one that's been, and so that's kind of our base coat, our starting point. There's one more other color, let me see where it's at. So this is for this, and then there's one other buckskin tan, and so this is a color I use for the nail, for the nail of the bill and underneath. And that's kind of like that light, it's like a light gray almost. I guess you could maybe use a light gray, but I like the buckskin because it's, I don't know, it's kind of like a fleshy, how is that showing up? Yeah, let me show it over this side a little bit. It's a little lighter on camera, but you get the gist. So let me get the other one I'm doing real quick, and then I'm gonna switch colors. And so next step will be just the mallard orange. So I'll be right back. All right, so then now we're back at just the regular orange. So we have the base that we did, and now so I'm gonna just do kind of orange, kind of do an overcoat. Like I said, I'm gonna mute it again so the compressor's not driving everybody crazy, but you'll see I'm just gonna kind of mist, nothing really major, but that's just to kind of give it start darkening up. So you're kind of, it's like you want to go from light to dark. So obviously the lightest color next, the orange is a little bit darker, the red is a little bit darker still, and then of course the black with lightest to dark, with the exception of the buckskin, because that kind of has to go on last in order to cover up the nail and not have a bunch of overspray from the other colors. So get that going now and get to it. God, I don't know why it keeps looking so light. I guess because this light's on. Anyway, so you kind of see where I'm doing the misting. Only thing I wanted to say here was, I always try to do linear or horizontal lines. You never want to go like up and down because you're gonna have streaks. If you're going like this along the whole length of the bill, that's going to give the most consistency, so it's not streaky. And then obviously angles, you probably saw there. I'm trying to bend it at every angle because you'll get like this little lip inside here. If you're painting straight on, if you were to turn it, you would be able to see some of those little wrinkle areas that don't have paint. And then it's just kind of, and then the last thing, honestly, the last thing you want to do is paint a bunch of heads, and then when you go to put them on to mount the bird, then all of a sudden you start seeing kind of areas you miss. Same thing with like feet, and then you're like, golly, man, I gotta freaking do that. Then you got to do it at a worse time because now you have feathers, or if you're doing a decoy, now you have other stuff that's already painted, and it's just a hassle. So it's much better to get all the crap done at this stage because now if there's a mistake, a chip or whatever, hey, no harm, no foul. I mean, if I want to paint it right there, who cares, right? But once the feathers are on there, now I've got to tape everything. I've got to card it. So anyway, so now we're in orange. I'm going to do the other ones here. I've blown up a lot of residual stuff I dremeled off apparently. And then we'll do the red and we'll finish it up. So be right back. Alright. So alright, now we're back. Got the red. Got the head. That's as much rhyming as I feel like doing. So we're just going to, again, like here, it's just going to be, God, this mute thing is so hard to correlate up. But I'm going to mute it now. I'll show you the misting, and then we'll do the same here in a second. Okay, so we have the red on. Now it's pretty much just, now when we want to darken it, when we go through with the black to do here, then that's when, if we need, you just want to do it on, I mean, mainly it's on the sides. I mean, I'll do a little mist, like the, on the bottom here. I might just a little hint of it, just to kind of dull down any orange areas, but obviously not too, I mean, you don't want it looking like a wood duck. So, like I'm going to do the same thing, do these, come right back, we'll do the black. So what I'm going to do is paint black here, and then I'll go in with a paintbrush and use the remainder of what's in the cup, and then I'll just kind of really finish the lines right here so it's nice and crisp, because they do have their grin or their smile kind of lines. It is pretty defined and pronounced. It's not faded. So, and then we'll be finishing up. So, be right back. You know what? I changed my mind. I was just thinking, so I can end the video without the airbrush, since I'm going to be doing the hand painting last. I'm going to go ahead and show the buckskin tan. So like I said, it kind of looks, it's just like a light gray, but that's just going to be here on the nail. I guess I got to do it over here, and just on the nail. I'll show it here in a second, but let me mute this dog, and then I'll do the painting. Okay, so I just did the buckskin. Now I'm noticing if I hold it this way, so apologize from before, but I mean, the idea. And I always come to the same thing, man. Like, always, like, man, I want to edit it, do this and that, because you see a lot, almost everything that's not, I guess, instructional is so edited, jump cuts, but a lot of this stuff is so, man, if the sequence of timing gets out, I don't know. I just think hopefully it works better for you guys, like to show kind of the real time kind of thing, because, I know, I don't know. I know you get lost all the time with stuff way back when, and as cool to just be like jump cut orange, jump cut red, jump cut black, it's just like, well, then how the hell did that happen? But anyway, I digress. So, and then here, obviously it's a little light, but I'll go through when I do the black, and then that'll kind of solve that issue. So, I'm like, it's the same thing, do the buckskin, and then we'll do the black, hand brush the last little part, and then bammo, we're good. So, be right back. Alright, now we're back with black, and I'm gonna do so I'm cleaning it out. There we go. Alright, so first I'll do damn, I guess I gotta mute it. So I'll show you what I do on the around the grin, and then we'll go from there. gonna keep this on actually for this, but what I'm doing is I'm just kind of darkening up, because this is obviously not done, but I'm just kind of darkening up a few of the areas, like the buckskin. It looks a lot lighter on the camera, but trust me, it's not this light. But I just kind of want to do a real gentle mist. I mean, so good God, where I dremeled out. Blow this out of here. I'm talking about a mist like, I mean, just a whisper of a mist, just to kind of, until I get it where I'm like, oh, okay, it's kind of dark, and then once I get the rest of the grin here, so then I'll take off the black. I'll go ahead and do this now, so then I'll just take normal paintbrush, and really you could do this instead of airbrushing it at all, honestly, but just kind of want to get just above the ridge on that little kind of smile line. And then just kind of make sure that you're steady and you can make a nice kind of line. And they do have like little, not necessarily straight lines where it's kind of bumpy a little bit. So that's not really the biggest of deals if that happens. But just want to make sure everything is. And right now, right, it looks goofy, like he's, just swallowed a bunch of lacquer, and when it dries, this is pretty flat paint. So, and I could do the same thing with this side as far as without having to airbrush. I have to use a little bit more paint just to make sure I get in all the cracks and crevices. But, and then what I've been trying out lately, so I think we talked about it before with rubbing it on your shirt or a fabric. That's good to do with this too, but you got to do it every color you add. You really need to be doing like a rubbing it smooth. For some of them, because I accidentally bought a matte gloss instead of a what's the saying? I bought a matte gloss instead of a gloss. Yeah, instead of gloss clear, it was gloss matte. I've been kind of spraying that a little bit. You don't really have to, but that kind of gives it, once it does dry, it kind of gives it a little bit of, I don't know, like a little layer of, because like, real birds, they have, so it's just like a matte. But I may try, okay, just making sure it's on. I've been talking to nothing. And so I may do just, again, all this stuff, this is moderation. Okay. So just do a little boop boop. Just where you can kind of start to see a little bit of a, like I said, once this dries, it'll all be flat because it's flat paints and it's flat matte. And then, obviously the black looks glossy because the light's on it and it's fresh. But anyway, so I just want to do that so it's kind of really wrapped up. But so that's just kind of, I mean, it's a simple way. Once the head's on there, it's a simple way to get kind of a multi-color kind of layers sort of natural look. We only used buckskin for just a little portion. We used, I'll hold it this way. Buckskin, we do the orange with the flesh for the base coat. Mist a little orange kind of all over. Because when the orange is going on top of like a flesh color, it kind of lightens the orange and gives it a more fleshy look. Then we do red mainly just kind of along the sides for the most part, a little bit on the bottom. But the sides, you can kind of see when I twist it that the top is a little bit lighter. It kind of retains more of that flesh. And then with the black, when you're done with that, then I just kind of lightly mist the whole head just to kind of knock down that, because you'll see a lot of them where they paint and it's too bright, it's too uniform. And then what happens is, since they have so many wrinkles, when you do the mist of black, from any particular angle, it's going to kind of raise those ridges and kind of texture it almost. And so now this part here, where it actually looks like you could see detail, if you just had one single color, or if you're doing it that way, it would just be too uniform. And like I said, I wish this buckskin showed up better on camera, but because it looks like crap on camera, but I guess you just have to believe me. But anyway, so this can be a new series. I'm going to do just a bunch of different heads. That way people search. That way if you're mounting a, you know, because I got videos, right, for standing bird, flying bird, whatever, but which kind of translates to all, you know, most of the birds. I need to do some on upland as well, but with the heads especially, and like the feet, I'll probably do the same thing when I start painting some feet, because that's so specific for you know, almost all the different birds. Obviously, if it's like a shoveler, I mean, it's black, right? So, you know, shoveler, blue wing, green wing, Canada goose, on and on. But, you know, I'm going to do one. I got a ringneck drake, pintails, actually got some ruddy ducks. And so there's a few that I want to really get to and kind of do in a series. And that way, if somebody's mounting a snow goose, blue goose, and they need to kind of have, you know, want to look for a few tips, cool, here it is. If they're mounting, you know, whatever. So anyway, guys, I'm back at it. I know it's been a little bit of a break, like a couple months, but like I said, this is going to be the new series, and maybe this will do a thumbnail. But anyway, appreciate it, guys. Appreciate the following. I'm on Instagram now too. Just started that. Really been liking it. It's easy to share all my pictures. Got a lot of cool pictures on there. It's AARBIRDS is the handle on there. Got tons of, you know, king eiders, emperor goose, just everything. So a lot of finished pictures there that I think people would like if you're watching this anyway. So, and I poured paint on myself. Anyway, appreciate it. And until the next time.